Did you hear any other stories about Bronson?
Not really. I know he was very friendly with Joe. I know he got stabbed a few times in prison, but not really. I used to hear about him, my dad, sort of Joe and things like that, but not really, no.
No matter how big your reputation in prison, there's always some dickhead who wants to test you. Did anyone test you?
No. I'll tell you why. I was a lot bigger than I am now. I've got all the scars on my head, so I looked the part. I weren't necessarily... I used to have a fight, but that weren't my game. I was game. But I think with knowing me dad, and my dad was an old-timer, I had it in Exeter with a kid who was a lump. He was from Devon.
Over what?
He just got a bit naughty and mouthy with me and tried to challenge me.
What did he say?
I can't remember what he said, but I had with another kid down in Exeter. It was a Scottish kid who's tried to stick it on me over the football, and that was a funny story. I said, I'll have a fight with you in the recess, and my dad heard about it. My dad's 68, and my dad wants to protect me. I said, Dad, drop me out, mate. Let me have the fight. Don't no one fight my son. So there was all that father-son going on. But when I got into the London jails, a couple of people, but not. I was with the right crowd. I always knew someone who knew my dad, and in the London jails, it was cool. It was cool.
Were you able to corrupt the guards in the London jails?
I can't answer that, but there's your answer.
Lowest moment while incarcerated?
My wife left me when I was in Maidstone. She had an affair. Bless her. I think the whole thing broke her heart. I had children with another woman, with my first wife Tracy. My second wife, who I was married to, Daniela, I think she felt threatened by my family.
That was the Italian lady.
My Italian lady, and she had an affair when I was in. We met someone when I was in Maidstone, and and I went over to Reg, funny enough, and everyone knew I felt embarrassed, but I was quite a well-liked chap, I think, in the prisons. I used to get up to things and get things. One of the things you just mentioned, I used to have my own sort of little ways and means of getting what we needed, but I didn't take liberties, and so I was quite all right in the nick. And there's loads of stories I could tell you, but it would be unfair. And so I went to see Reg when she had the affair. We went over to church together, me and Reg, and we said a little prayer. And he said, son, he said, all I can tell you to do is you've got to forgive them. But it was a very, very low moment. But in a way, I accepted it because I still had my children, I had my family. She was a lot younger than me as well. And we're still friends today, but that was my lowest moment.
Yeah. And how did it feel as you got nearer to the gate?
Well, when I got a few years off right at the end at the appeal courts.
So you only had to do 4 then?
No, I done 5 years. The old man done 6. So from expecting to do 9 years, I'm down to 5 years, which is 5 years is long enough, but it was okay. And
it's manageable, isn't it?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. Don't show on your shoes 5 years. And so I was in a working nick where you go out to work, which I was doing all sorts of naughty things. I weren't going to work, I was going home, and you do all them sorts of things. Well, I don't want to get in anyone's trouble because everyone does work really hard when they come out of prisons. And so, so there was that going on. So I started to it was an anticlimax really, because I'd come out a few times and I'd done a few things, and I used to get away with bits and pieces. I'd done some funny things in the nick. That with charity work, I'd get out with charity work. All the chaps was getting out doing charity work. We used to work with Men Cap. So that's another story. There's lots of stories there. But so it's an anticlimax when I come home, but I relapsed when I come home. I'd got clean in the prison, and I'd go into my church, and I come home and relapsed.
What was the temptation?
We're powerless if we ain't careful, and the temptation was being around friends who used, and no one wanted me to use cocaine, all my friends and family, because they knew where it took me. So I relapsed for a year, had another affair, which was very damaging for me. And then I got back on my feet again. And
how did you manage to get the mental strength to get back on your feet?
I think by the church. I started going to meetings. And do you know what I think? As it's gone on, I don't know how it is, but they talk about going through the narrow gate, and you know, the good and the bad. And I think there's power in the belief and faith to believe. I think if you've got faith to believe, it changes the atmosphere. And so prayerful, going to church. I'd had another affair with my business partner's wife. It wasn't very nice. I put that out there. And I'm not making excuses, but it was a repeat of my own abuse. That don't make it right. So I'd had 2 major affairs, which I weren't happy about. I had a massive business with this guy, cost me millions.
Did you end up in debt?
I'm mad debt. I was quite wealthy boy. Have you heard of the group Kasabian?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I was a share before they become Kasabian. They was called. I had them. I was part owner of them. I had a radio station down in Brighton. I had supermarkets abroad, and I'm not showing off. This is what I had. I had a flower business in London. I had a property portfolio in Spain.
And you lost it all?
I lost a lot. And got in debt with the wrong people.
Ooh.
So it was a tough time. But I do believe that was my faith again.
Was it a drug debt then?
No. It was nothing to do with drugs. This was straight business. But someone stole some money off me. But I think it was an answer to prayer, because, to be honest with you, I'm not saying it's okay to be wealthy. It really is. But it's what it means to you. It can't be an abuse of power. It can't be something you love, because it'll bite you on the backside. And so I built this sort of thing. You know, when I built the cannabis deal, I'd done it from the addiction of the drive, and I'd done it quickly. I'd done exactly the same with my private life. But instead of getting it right, I used to let the affairs, the women, all that sort of thing. And because I think I had a conscience, and I'm not a bad guy, it never sat easy with me. So I always had this conflict. Even as a believer, I had this conflict. And my walk, I've just bought a book. I've just wrote a book. So you see that I haven't gone hallelujah, I'm saved. I'm a work in progress, like I've said. And it's changed me. It's changed the way I feel, what I do. And I'm getting there. But when I lost everything, I think it was a mask. I was hiding behind it. I was frightened. I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing. I was doing very well in business, and it wasn't helping me. And I'm not saying I don't want my money back, because I do. But someone stole from me. I got in trouble I went and borrowed from friends and family. Caused me a lot of aggravation. But in that, I found Michael. The loss of everything. My car was a Range Rover. I changed it every 2 years, and I'm not showing off. In the end, I couldn't afford an Oyster card. I had nowhere to live. All my family rallied round. I lost a lot. It was fortunes. But the only way I've accepted it is I think it was built on sand. It didn't have a good foundation. And eventually, if I hadn't lost it, I think maybe it had got taken from me from elsewhere. So I began my life again over the last few years.
What made you want to write the book?
Because the story is, I'm not saying I'm incredible, because I'm not. I'm quite a weak, vulnerable, strong man. I've got that opposite. I got asked to do it. I got asked to write the book by Harper and Collins, and I think it's a very unusual story that I'm here to tell it. I think it's and it's been drama after drama after drama after drama, after chaos after chaos after chaos. I've lived about 10 lives, but I'm at peace today, a lot more. I've got lovely children. I've got lovely grandchildren. I'm now with a New Zealand lady who's very kind and loving. So failed marriages. There's been so much I've been through, and I think there's hope in the book. I believe there's hope, and I think it's a good read. I think people identify. It's not I'm in church now, I'm saved, I'm holier than now. It's, you know what? Church is like an hospital. You can get well, and I think we all have our inner secrets that we don't want to admit because we're macho, our pride. You don't get many men going unbroken, but you know, I think we're in a broken world as it is, and I don't want to get too into that. But there's hope, I think. I think hope's a biggie.
So for people watching this, the link to your book is in the description box below this video. Is there anything you'd like to say in conclusion to the people watching this?
Well, I'm not sure what your audience is, but, well, I am a little, yeah. People watching, you know, I hope some of it's made sense. Some say it's an exciting story, some say it's not. Not everyone's been happy with me. But I do think that the criminal fraternity that I've lived in, as much as it's exciting, there's no free lunches, yeah. We reap what we sow. And I just think the word love, you know, I know we might be a few gangsters listening or some heavy people, but we've all got good hearts. We're all nice guys. And I just think today I learned to do something simple. And I think simple's best. And I think the word love is a verb to do. So I enjoy loving. I enjoy loving my neighbour. Not all the time, I want to chin them sometimes. But you know what I mean? So people out there, if you're looking for a way out, or if you're not, that's up to you. You know, I'm powerless over what anyone does. But all I'm saying, there is something out there that can set us free. And for me, it's the cross. And I'm not religious, and I'm not trying to preach to everybody, but it has changed my life.
It's nice to end on a message of love. Thank you very much for watching this, everybody. Please let us know in the comments what you thought about this video. Huge thank you to the new subscribers. Subscription logo is in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Huge thank you to people who've gone down in the description box, checked out Michael's book, followed our socials. People who've donated as well, those links are down there, so we can film these podcasts in a studio with James and Joe. And thank you also for all of your guest suggestions. So hope you've enjoyed it. All right, give us a hug, man. Cheers. Well done. Brilliant storytelling. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
Terrific.